Ever felt grateful for modern medicine? Well, you're about to be. Today, we're diving into the bizarre, the baffling, and the downright dangerous world of historical medical treatments. From drilling holes in heads to drinking radioactive water, get ready for 20 cures that will make you glad you live in the 21st century. Let's start with a classic, bloodletting. For thousands of years, if you felt unwell, a doctor's first move was probably to drain your blood. The idea was to balance the four humors: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. Whether you had a fever or a broken heart, the prescription was the same: let it bleed. They'd use knives, special tools called lancets, or even our next creepy cure: leeches. That's right. Hydrotherapy, or leech therapy, was the sophisticated way to handle bloodletting. These little bloodsuckers were applied to patients to remove so-called bad blood. While it sounds medieval, leeches are actually making a comeback in modern medicine. Their saliva contains anticoagulants and anesthetics, making them useful in microsurgery to restore blood flow to reattached fingers or skin grafts. Still, the thought is a bit unsettling, isn't it? Now, if bleeding you dry didn't work, maybe your doctor would suggest trepanation. This involved drilling, scraping, or cutting a hole directly into your skull. Why? To release evil spirits, relieve headaches, or treat head injuries. Archaeologists have found skulls from ancient Egypt to the Andes with these holes, and incredibly, some show signs of healing, meaning the patient actually survived this intense procedure. Imagine having a headache so bad that a hole in the head sounds like a good idea. And what did they use to patch you up after all that cutting and drilling? Spider webs. For centuries, spider silk and entire webs were pressed onto wounds to stop bleeding. The silk is rich in vitamin K, which helps with clotting, and it also has some antiseptic properties. So, while it sounds like something out of a horror movie, there was a bit of method to the madness. A much cleaner version of this idea is catgut, which wasn't from cats at all, but from the intestines of animals like sheep. These natural fibers were some of the earliest materials used for surgical stitches, or sutures, paving the way for how we close wounds today. Speaking of things that sound like a bad idea, let's talk about the Victorians and their love affair with radium. After its discovery, this radioactive element was marketed as a miracle cure-all. People drank radium-infused water, used radium-laced cosmetics, and even wore radioactive pendants for good health. These radium tonics promised to cure everything from arthritis to aging. Of course, we now know this was incredibly dangerous, causing horrific health problems for those who believed the hype. Equally dangerous was the use of other toxic substances. Got a pale complexion? You might have tried cosmetic arsenic. Yes, people intentionally consumed or applied arsenic, a deadly poison, to achieve a fashionably pale and delicate look. And for one of the most feared diseases of its time, syphilis, the go-to treatment was mercury. Patients would inhale mercury vapor, rub it on their skin, or even ingest it. The side effects, including tooth loss, nerve damage, and insanity, were often as bad as the disease itself, leading to the saying, "One night with Venus, a lifetime with Mercury." If poison wasn't your thing, how about smoke? For a while, the tobacco enema was a surprisingly popular resuscitation method. If someone was feared to have drowned, doctors would blow tobacco smoke into, well, you can guess where. The idea was that the nicotine would stimulate the body and bring them back to life. It was so common that resuscitation kits, complete with bellows and tubes, were placed along rivers like the Thames. Let's move on to the mind. Before modern psychiatry, treatments for mental illness could be brutal. The most infamous is the lobotomy. From the 1930s to the 50s, doctors surgically severed connections in the brain's prefrontal cortex to calm patients with conditions ranging from schizophrenia to anxiety. While it won a Nobel Prize at the time, the procedure often left patients in a vegetative state, a tragic chapter in medical history. Another questionable practice was electrotherapy. Inspired by early experiments with electricity, doctors in the 18th and 19th centuries began applying electric shocks to patients. They believed it could cure paralysis, melancholy, and just about anything else. While it was mostly quackery, it laid the groundwork for legitimate modern treatments like transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS, used for depression today. If you weren't being shocked, you might be burned. Moxibustion is an ancient Chinese technique where dried mugwort is burned on or near the skin at specific acupuncture points. A more extreme version is cautery, where a hot iron was used to burn tissue to stop bleeding or destroy growths. It was effective but unimaginably painful before anesthesia. Now, who was performing all these intense procedures? Often it was your friendly neighborhood barber surgeon. For centuries, barbers didn't just cut hair, they were the go-to for tooth extractions, minor surgeries, and yes, bloodletting. The iconic red and white barber pole? It symbolizes bloody bandages wrapped around a pole. Makes you appreciate your modern dentist a bit more, doesn't it? The 19th century was also the golden age of patent medicines and quack cures. Traveling doctors in medicine shows would sell tonics and elixirs that promised to cure everything. These were often little more than alcohol, sugar, and sometimes dangerous ingredients. A popular and widely available medicine in many households was laudanum, a tincture of opium dissolved in alcohol. It was used for pain, coughs, sleeplessness, and even to quiet crying babies. It was incredibly effective, but also incredibly addictive, creating widespread dependency problems. But not every strange cure was a total failure. Take quinine, a bitter compound from the bark of the cinchona tree. It was the first effective treatment for malaria. Though toxic in high doses, it saved countless lives and allowed for European expansion into tropical regions where malaria was rampant. Another practice that started strange but led to a breakthrough was variolation. To protect against smallpox, people would intentionally infect themselves with a small amount of material from a smallpox sore, hoping to get a milder case of the disease. It was risky, but it worked more often than not. This practice directly inspired Edward Jenner, who noticed that milkmaids who got cowpox didn't get smallpox. His experiments with cowpox led to the world's first vaccine, a monumental achievement that has saved billions of lives. Finally, let's talk about blood transfusions. The first attempts were messy. In the 17th century, doctors tried transfusing animal blood into humans, with predictably disastrous results. For the next 150 years, the practice was banned. It wasn't until the discovery of human blood groups in the early 20th century that transfusions became the safe, life-saving procedure we know today. It's a powerful reminder of how far we've come. From leeches and lobotomies to radium water and spiderweb bandages, the history of medicine is a wild ride. It shows us the relentless human drive to heal, even when the methods were misguided or downright terrifying. It definitely makes you appreciate your next doctor's visit a little more, right? Thanks for joining me on this creepy journey through medical history. If you found this as fascinating as I did, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the weird and wonderful corners of our past. Let me know in the comments which of these treatments creeped you out the most. See you next time.